I came in my room, I turned out the light, and I sat on the side of my bed, ready to cry myself to sleep. And then I went to untie my sneakers, and I saw that there was light on the ground. And I said, "That's impossible. I know I just turned out the light. What is that? I know I just turned out the light. That's impossible." So, and here's the crazy part. When I looked up, it was like the sun you see in the sky was in my room.
All right, so hi, Soul family, and welcome to my channel. I'm your host, Haji, and this is Amazing NDE Stories. Our guest today is the one and only Dennis Bullock. Did I say that correct? Bullock?
Yeah,
Yes,
Bullock, yeah.
Dennis Bullock. Dennis, welcome to the show. I am so excited.
Thank you, Haji, for having me. I'm really excited too. It's a pleasure to be on your show, and I'm looking forward to talking with you about my experiences and stuff. Yeah,
Perfect, perfect.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
All right, so Dennis, you ready?
yeah, sure.
Jump straight in and tell us about your amazing NDE experience.
Okay, first I'm going to say I was a musician. Okay, a soul singer, R&B soul singer, and saxophone player. Um, I did not have any uh, uh, spiritual teaching so much. My mother brought us up a Christian, and yeah, basically just a music artist, and that was it. Um, anyway, so that's pretty much my background. I did work with a few um famous people, I guess you could call them, and so that's what I was doing. So now I'm gonna go in. There's two experiences. The first one was with my mother, and the second one was where I passed away. The first one I'm going to explain. Me and my mother, we were very, very close. I mean, she was like the light of my life. I mean, she would wake up in the morning and say, "Hey, look outside. Did you hear the birds?" She was noticing the beauty of the world. And I had my father too, but my father wasn't that he didn't love me, but he only knew how to love me in a military way because he was a Marine and also he was a police officer. So he was and he came from a military family. So he couldn't show so much emotion or that he would love his son. He just had to, he was very dutiful. If I need something for my birthday, okay, here it is. What you want for Christmas? Okay, here it is. That's it. Where my mother was more of the joy, the actual joy, and she lit up my life. Um, she saved money for 3 years just to buy me my first saxophone. Okay. So when she got sick and died, that's when it's like somebody turned out the lights in my life. And I didn't know I didn't know what to feel. It was so dark. Let's just like say that it just turned out my lights completely. And I didn't know where she was. I mean, we had Christian uh, upbringing, but basically we were, I would say, like holiday Christians, which is like, if it's a holiday, we go to church and we go do this, but we weren't really, I didn't take it serious. And then, especially when my mom died, that's really when it put it to the test that I didn't know where she was. I didn't believe anything about what they said in the church about where she might be. So, so I was just totally lost. So I was living in Montreal, Canada at the time. Originally, I was born in Philadelphia. Okay. Um, but I was living in Montreal, Canada at that time when she passed. And I was, after she passed about a week and a half, I started to drink because I was just depressed. I wasn't suicidal, but I didn't care whether I lived or died. And so I would drink every night and then come home to my apartment turn out my light in my room, sit on the side of my bed, and cry myself to sleep. That's what I would do. That's what I was doing every night for about a week and a half, until this one night. I was coming from the bar, ready to do my routine, and I came in my room. I turned out the light, and I sat on the side of my bed, ready to cry myself to sleep. And then I went to untie my sneakers, and I saw that there was light on the ground. And I said, "That's impossible. I know I just turned out the light. What is that? I know it just turned out the light. That's impossible." So, and here's the crazy part. When I looked up, it was like the sun you see in the sky was in my room. And it was like if you're at a beach and you have a wave on the ocean that's too tall for your body and it covers your whole body. Well, think of it like the water is love. And that's how it felt, like a wave of love just washed over me totally. And it covered every part of me. And it was so beautiful and so much love. And then out of the out of the sun that's in my room comes two stars. There's like one small star and there's one big star, and they float out from the sun. And I recognized right away the small star was my mother. I felt her, and and first thing I said then was, "It's like that over there, Mom." And I was so happy. I mean, the only way to describe it would be like if you're in Hawaii and you're on the beach and you just won the lottery for $1 billion and everybody around you truly loves you and it's perfect weather. That times 1,000. And that's what I was feeling. Okay. And so she floated out to me and then she started to talk to me like I'm talking to you now, except the only little slight difference was that it felt like the conversation was being shot into my body and I could feel the conversation in my body. And the first thing she said was, "I'm going to tell you a week in the future, so you're going to know that this is not a dream. This is not an illusion of any sort." And she said, "You're going to get a job next week." Okay. And she said, "There's going to be a doorman or a bouncer there." And she said, "This guy's going to be a psychopath and a homosexual." And she said, "He's going to try to make a pass at you." And she said, "Whatever you do, don't get into an argument with him." And then she started to talk almost as if like Star Trek almost. She said that because there's going to be two timelines that will happen if you get into an argument with him. The first timeline, um, he kills you. The second timeline, you kill him, but you go to jail for the rest of your life. And she said, one of these two timelines will happen if you get into an argument with him. Now, I was so happy to see my mother that I said, "Mom, anything you say, I'm going to do. Anything you tell me, I'm going to do. Don't worry. I'll do it, Mom. I'll do it, Mom." Because my mother knew me. I mean, I was 29 years old at that time, and she knew I don't have anything against anybody who is gay, lesbian, homosexual, trans. I don't have nothing against that. But if you know that I'm not gay and you come after me, I'm going to defend my manhood. And my mother knew that. That's why she told me, "Don't get into an argument with him." Um, and the thing was, it's like, I wasn't looking for trouble for anything, but I knew that if trouble came my way, I could handle it. So she told me that, and then she said, "I have another thing I'm going to tell you, and that is the girlfriend that you're seeing now. She has 3 kids that you don't know about, and she's going to try to have a fourth kid with you. So be careful." So she said that, and then she took like a little pause. And when she took the pause, I said, "But Mom, tell me, who is this other light standing next to you? Because this other light was like 7 feet tall, standing next to her. And when I asked her who this other light was, the light spoke to me. And it said, I'm an escort. I'm escorting your mother to the earth. And I said, an escort? Okay. Well, I got some questions for you. I said, I mean, my room is lit up like Star Wars. Uh, I want to know, why am I here? Who's going to be my wife? How many kids am I going to have? All these kind of questions. And I call this angel, I call it an angel now, said to me very calmly and easy, said, I'm going to answer all your questions, but you won't be allowed to remember only what your mother's telling you. So this angel told me everything that I wanted to know, everything, but I could not remember. I only could remember what my mother told me. And then my mother said to me, I love you and I will always be around you, but you will not be as aware of me as you are tonight. And then they floated back to the sun, which was in my room, which was God, by the way. And as they floated back into the sun, my room started to slowly get darker, like a ice cube in a glass would slowly melt. That's how it went. And when the room went totally dark, tears burst out of my eyes because I said, nobody's ever going to believe this. Nobody's ever going to believe this. Nobody's ever going to believe me that this happened. Nobody going to believe me. But I have the proof. The next day, I got a call from my band. Now, my band, we hadn't been working about 2-3 weeks. Okay. It was a dry spell. The band member said, hey, we got a job. I said, oh, really? He said, yeah, we got a job. I said, okay. Now, I didn't tell my band member what had happened because I didn't want them to think, oh, he's a great singer and a great saxophone player, but, he kind of lost it since his mother died. So I didn't tell them nothing, absolutely nothing. I said, oh, okay, okay. So I hung up the phone and then the next day we did a sound check. Now, for people who don't know what a sound check is, it's what the artist does, the musicians do before, about 3 or 4 hours before the actual show, to check out all the sound equipment to make sure that it's functioning and it works and it's good for the people. So we went to do the sound check. Now, when I went to this club, I'd never been to this club before. It was a new club, but I knew the owner. And this club, there was 2 bouncers there, huge guys. Now I'm like 6'2", but these guys, one of their arms could be my whole body. They were huge, Hulk Hogan type, type people. And but I went in, there was no problem with them. They didn't speak to me, and I just said hello, and I walked in. And then we did our sound check, everything went good. I left the club. And then the night came and we went into the club and we did our first show. And that went okay. Now we were on the break. Now, as we were on the break, this was me and this was the band. The 5 was the band. And we were just talking on our break. And this bouncer walked behind me and grabbed my butt and went to the corner. And I was talking and went, what? And I said, guys, did you see this? This guy just grabbed my butt. They said, no, we saw him pass you, but we didn't see the grab. And because I was in front of them, I was in front of the people, so they couldn't see when he was passing that he grabbed me. So I said, I got to tell this guy something. I was so mad. And I was going over there and I said, oh yeah, right, mom. Remember, don't lose it, man. Don't lose it. Don't lose your cool. Take it easy. Don't lose it. Don't lose it. Just go over there and tell him you're not like that. Just cool, easy. Remember, mom. And I said, and then that cooled me down. And then I went over there and I said, listen, man, I'm not like that. Please don't touch me again. And he says, um, I didn't touch you. I think you had too many beers. I said, no, man, you touched me. Please don't do it. I'm not like that. And then he said, why'd you tell your friends? And I told my friends, because that's what you did. You touched me, man. Please don't touch me. I'm not like that. Then I left because the conversation, the longer I stayed, was going more and more towards what my mother said, an argument. So I said, I just left like that. So we went on stage for the last show. I did the last show. And normally, after I do a show, I would hang around the club and, get some feedback from the people. They enjoy the show. But this time, after the show, I left. I didn't want to be around that. So I left and I went home. Everything was okay. The next day, band member calls me and says, "Hey, did you hear what happened?" I said, "No, what? What do you mean? What happened? Remember that guy, this bouncer that you said had grabbed you? He got into an argument with the club owner and crushed both of his rib cages, killed the club owner, and went to jail for manslaughter. And he is in jail to this day as we speak." And I was in shock. I said, "What?" And I said, "That's crazy, man. That's crazy." And then I hung up. I still didn't tell him anything that I knew. I hung up the phone. And I said, "Oh my God." I said, "Everything my mom is telling me is coming true. Everything." And then I thought and I said, if that's true, my girlfriend. So I called the phone. I dialed her phone number and she said, "Hello." And I said, "Tell me something. Just tell me the truth. I want to ask you a question. Do you have 3 kids?" The phone went silent. And then she said, "Who told you?" And I said, "No, no, this can't be. This cannot be. This cannot be. I'm going to ask you a question again. Maybe you didn't understand. I'm going to ask you again. Do you have 3 kids?" And then she said, "Yes, I have 3 kids, but who told you?" I said, "Okay, I'm going to tell you who told me. My dead mother told me." And I said, "Me and you are through." I said, "I would have been with you if you had told me about the kids, but you hid your own kids for almost 2 years." I said, "I don't know what else you might be hiding. So we're finished." So I hung up the phone, and that was my first experience. Now, I said to myself, well, that experience was so fantastic. I said, I can't tell anybody that. They're not going to believe me anyway. So I put that on the side and I said, I'm going to go back to normal life. I'm going to try to go back to normal life. I know my mother's fine now. So I didn't have to drink anymore because I know she is fine. I'm totally at peace with that because she's better than she even was when she was alive. She was great. So I could put that to rest. And so then I started to follow this other guy who's a singer. He used to sing for the Platters, but it's the renewed Platters, not the original Platters, because that's too old. But it's a renewed group. They made a renewed group. It's like if you would make the Temptations again, a renewed. So they made this group Renewed Platters, and he was a great singer, like killer vocals, really, really great. And I was learning a lot from him. I was doing his shows with him and I was learning about singing and all that stuff. And till one night he offered me drugs. And I started to take drugs with him, which I'm not so proud of, but I thought that was the way at that time. I thought, oh, well, he has major record contracts in Germany, Europe, America. His songs are on the radio. I said, this must be the way to go. So I started doing drugs with him, and I was doing his shows until one weekend we did the show, and he just dropped dead. And that was my wake-up call. And I stopped cold turkey, no drugs. I didn't even have to go to any kind of rehab. I said, no drugs, that's it. I stopped cold turkey. But I said to myself, I think I'm going to replace it with a marijuana, a joint every once a month. I'm going to smoke a joint once a month. That's okay. So that's what I did. And so I was in Montreal, Canada at that time, and with my new girlfriend, and we ran out of marijuana, so we didn't have anything to smoke that day. And sadly to say, not sadly, but funny to say that most musicians, 90%, know where to get marijuana, no matter what city, no matter what country. They know where to get marijuana. So when I ran out, I just called one of my musician friends. Hey, you got some marijuana? Yeah, sure. And I'm gonna bake it in a cake. I put it in a cake and I bring it over. I said, in a cake? I never ate it in a cake before. Cool, that sounds like fun. Okay. So what I didn't know till after is that he poured the kitchen sink in this cake. I mean, he poured like a full bag of marijuana in this cake. It was a chocolate cake. He brought it over to my apartment, left it there with me and my girlfriend, and he left. So I cut her a small piece, and I cut me a small piece. She ate it. I ate my piece. 10 minutes went by. I said, do you feel anything? She said, no, I don't feel nothing. You? I said, no, me, I don't feel nothing. I said, I think maybe we have to eat more cake. So this time I cut half of the cake to her and the other half to me. And because we wanted to get high. So we ate the cake and 10 minutes went by. I asked her again, I said, you feel something? She said, no, I don't feel nothing. I said, me neither. I said, it must be a bad batch or something. I don't know. I don't understand. Um, and then we waited another 10 minutes. Then we started to feel something, but it felt more like our bodies were beginning to shut down. I would be talking with her and then I would forget to breathe. And then I started having trouble to move. I couldn't even hardly move. And she said to me, you better call 911 while we still can. And I said, yeah, I think you're right. And then I went to call 911. And I was kind of embarrassed to tell them what was wrong because they said, hello, how can we help you? And I said, well, I said, me and my girlfriend, we ate too much marijuana and a cake. And I think we're dying. And I think, could you come please save us? Please help us. And they said, okay, we'll be right over. Now, what I didn't realize is that if you called 911 about any kind of narcotic, they will also call the police. So the police arrived about 5 minutes before they did, but we had eaten all the cake, so there was no marijuana in the place. So they couldn't charge us with anything. So they left. And then the ambulance 911 people came and they took us out in stretchers. And it was just in time because I was sitting there, I couldn't move, and my heart was trying to beat. And I was just like this, almost like paralyzed. And I was glad that they came because I knew that I didn't have a lot of time. And so they came. This is now around 3 o'clock in the morning, sometime like that. Okay. And we lived on the third floor, and there's two other floors with windows, big windows on each floor. So the neighbors were just looking out the window at us as we're in separate stretchers coming down this spiral stairs right in front of their window. Lights are flashing everywhere. It just looked like, I don't know, Mick Jagger, David Bowie overdose, something crazy. And so we're being carried down and they put us in the ambulance and we get rushed to the hospital. And when we arrive at the hospital, here's another strange thing that happened. When I look at the reception as I'm in the stretcher, there's my dead mother again. But this time she's looking through papers at the reception, looking for me. And what I found out later was that when I was rolled past the reception, I was so close to death. That's why I could see her as clear as I see you. And as they were rolling by, I said, "That's strange. There's mom." And they rolled me into a hospital room by myself, and they rolled my girlfriend into another hospital room. Um, And they sat me on the bed and they gave me this black drink to drink. I thought it was tar drink, but later I found out it was charcoal drink. And then they left me there because my girlfriend, I think she was having some kind of other complications. To this day, I don't know what it was, but I know she was kind of in trouble too about something else. And so I sat on the side of my bed and I said, "Oh, thank God. I'm going to drink this drink." And I drank it really fast. Tastes horrible. Ugh. And I drank it really fast. And I sat back on the bed and I said, "I think I'm going to be all right. I'm going to live. I think I'm going to live. I think I'm going to live." And as I sit back on the bed and I relax, all of a sudden, I'd start to hear my heart in my ear. And it starts to beat like this. Boom, 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 boom. And when it went boom, that's when it's like I would jump out of this chair right out of my body. That's what happened. I I jumped out of my body, and when I was out, I said, "I'm out." I couldn't believe it. It was so easy. And I was looking at my body in the bed, and I'm standing up, and I'm like, "I'm out. I'm out." And then I start to look at my hand. And the best way to describe that is like if you watch the emergency broadcasting system, it used to come on. I don't know if it does anymore, but it used to come on where after 12, this static would come all over the TV. And if you look in the static, you're going to see that there's colors. If you really take a look, it shows you that I was watching a lot of TV when I was a kid back in the times. So there's colors in the static. And that's how my hand kind of looked like. It had this gray, it was gray, and then it had this light blue tint around it. So I'm looking at my hand like this, just like I'm doing now, just like that. And then I had a sink in my hospital room, and then I hear a drop of water going boop, boop, boop. And for some odd reason, to a soul, a drop of water was the most amazing thing that could ever happen. And I said, "A drop of water. Wow." And the minute I thought about the drop of water, my vision went straight to it and back. And then I wanted to stop the drop of water because it was dripping very fast, like this, bop, bop. And as if I was, for example, if I gave you a bike and you hadn't ridden a bike in 20 years, you're still going to know how to ride that bike. Well, that's how it was. It was almost as if I was remembering. And I just put my hand across the air, just like this, and the drop of water stopped in midair. I stopped time. And to a soul, that wasn't fantastic. That was like, okay. And then I said, "I'd like to see that drop of water from every angle." And I opened my hand just like this, boom. And 5 of me appeared at the sink. One was on the right, one was on the left, one was underneath, one was watching them, and I was watching all of them. Okay. And when I would close my hand, they all would suck back to me. And when I opened my hand, they would all appear at the sink. And I kept doing that because I was just amazed at it. And I kept going, shoo, 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 shoo. And then I said, "I wonder if I add a little shake, will they all shake?" And I did it, and I added a little shake, and they appeared, and they all shook a little bit like that, and I burst out laughing. I burst out laughing. It was too much. And my laugh on the other side, it sounded like I was laughing in the Grand Canyon. It just went, ha, ha, ha. And after the laugh, then I felt somebody was watching me. And then I heard a voice. And this voice talked to me like a parent would talk to a child in a playground. You know, a parent might say, "Hey, don't run around the corner real fast. You might fall." This voice said in a very calm, loving voice, it said, "If you don't go back now, you might have to stay." And I went, "Oh yeah, that's right. My heart. It can't stay stopped. It's already been 20 minutes at least. Can't stay stopped that long." And I never questioned who the voice was because I knew that it was God. And and here's the other thing. Um, while I was out of my body, this was something else that was happening while I was out, which I didn't describe yet. Um, it's like if you take an Alka-Seltzer and you put an Alka-Seltzer in water, right? The Alka-Seltzer is going to dissolve. Well, while I was out of my body, I was getting information, but it was expanding like this slowly. The longer I stay out, the more information. The longer I stay out, the more information. The longer I stay out, more information. And this information was incredible. I mean, it was all most of it was the opposite of what I believed here on Earth. And it was about everything. It was about um, why we come here. It was on the other side, there is no right or wrong. It was about heaven, hell. It was about Jesus. It was about the Bible. It was about the earth. It was about why souls even come here. It covered so many things, and we hopefully we'll talk about that later. But um, so anyway, I just want to explain that that was happening while I was out of my body. And then I looked at the bed. Here's the other thing I wanted to say was that I never wanted to look at my face when I was dead because I thought I would have some kind of twisted, dead look face, and I didn't want to be scared. So I just saw my legs, and I was standing up, and my legs are on the bed, so I knew that I was out. And I just went. I put my soul in that direction of the body, and I just jumped in. And when I jumped in, my heart did a boom, double beat, and then I was in, and I was back alive again. Now that was my second experience. Now, when I came back, this time I came back with a lot of information and also with some kind of gift. And which I discovered I had the gift, this kind of gift by accident. Um, but okay, I guess I can tell you about the gift first, and then we'll talk about the downloads of what I got. The gift, I after that experience, I said, "Oh wow, another another crazy experience that nobody probably not going to believe me." So I said, "Let's just try to get back to normal life. Let's just try, please, just try." So this time, I was going to a gig. We had a gig in Mont Roland, and I was with the band. Of course, I didn't tell my band what had happened. Um, it's just kind of an embarrassing thing. So yeah, I didn't say much about what had happened about that. So we went to this place called Mont Roland. It's in Montreal, Canada. It's north, and we were going to do this club, and there was a snowstorm, and this place is like a mountain kind of mountainous, a little bit mountainous area, where you can do shows kind of like in the day, you know, like from 2 o'clock to 8 o'clock, some, some music, live music and stuff. So, but it was a snowstorm and nobody came. So me and the band, we were sitting having our beers and stuff like that. And there's only two waitresses. So I say to one of the waitresses, "Hey, waitress, come on over here." Because we're all bored. I said, "Come on over here. Give me your left hand. I'm going to tell you a future for fun." That was supposed to be a joke, right? So I grab her left hand and I say, "Hey, your boyfriend is paraplegic." And I said, "He blames you for his handicap, even though it was not your fault." And I said, "3 months from now, you're gonna meet a guy and you're gonna fall in love with this guy, and then you're gonna marry him and you're gonna be happy, live happily ever after." And I just left her hand like that. Now, what I did notice that she never said a word while I was doing that. And I just finished my beer, let her hand go, finish my beer. So A year later, we played that same club. And when we got there, this waitress was still working there, and she ran up to me and she said, "Hey, remember me?" I said, "Yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah. I told you your future." I was laughing at her. She said, "Did you know that everything you said was true?" I said, "No way. No way." Because I never met this waitress before in my life. I said, "No way." I said, "Your boyfriend was paraplegic." She said, "Yes." I said, "He blames you for his handicap, even though it's not your fault." She said, "Yes." "You met a guy 3 months after and fell in love?" She said, "Yes." And then I said, "And you got married?" And she didn't even say yes anymore. She just showed me the wedding ring. And when she did that, the bumps went up my arm to my neck, the chills. And I said, "Oh my God, what is happening to me? Am I turning into some kind of alien? What is happening to me?" And then my band heard it, and they said, "Yeah, man, what's going on with you? You turning into Nostradamus?" And they were laughing, and I'm like, but it wasn't that funny for me. I was like, it wasn't supposed to be like that. I don't understand. Then I had another incident. This time it was with another doorman, but this time this doorman was friends with the band. We were cool people. They were all cool. And I had this premonition about this doorman that um, he shouldn't go out this particular weekend. Now he's a doorman or bouncer. They're big, big, huge people. And I said to myself, maybe you're just imagining this feeling, maybe it's, so many strange things have been happening in your life lately. Maybe you're just imagining this. And I said, and anyway, who's going to mess with this guy? This guy is huge. You must want to suicide if you want to pick a fight with this guy. Uh-uh. I said, and he's gonna think I'm crazy. Stay in your apartment. Don't go out this weekend. Just don't go out. Stay in your apartment. So I saw him he worked in the after hours. Now, after hours, for people who don't know, that's clubs that stay open after the normal clubs close. Like the normal clubs close maybe 1 or 2. They stay up until like 3 till 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. Okay. And what happens is a lot of artists and bands and people who work at night, we go there because we can't just do our show and go straight home to sleep. We have so much energy. So we go there to kind of wind down, chill out. And also a lot of the people, the public who've seen the show come there also, and they like to talk about the show. We have a drink and we talk and blah, blah, blah. So he was a bouncer for that. So I saw him after my show, the band, we went to the after hours, and he was there working. And I didn't say nothing to him because I said hello like we always do, but I thought, now he's gonna think I'm crazy. We all are good friends. I'm not gonna say that. If I don't go home, don't go, you shouldn't be out this weekend. So I didn't say nothing. Now, Sunday came along. We did our show and we went to go to the after hours, but this time he was not there. There was another doorman or bouncer there, and he was standing in front of the door with tears rolling down his face. And I said, "Hey man, what's wrong?" And he said, "You didn't hear?" I said, "No, hear what?" He said, "The bouncer's dead." I said, "Dead?" I said, "How? How?" He said, "On Saturday night, he met a girl, and after his shift, they went to a hotel. And this girl waited till he fell asleep, and she took out a butcher knife and slashed his throat. And he lost so much blood. By the time he realized what was happening, he lost so much blood that he lost consciousness and then he died. And I felt so, so bad. And I went to his funeral and I felt so bad. And I said to myself, never again. I said, if I get a premonition, if it's for the president of the United States, I'm going to tell him. I said, I don't care if they think I'm crazy. I don't think if they think I'm Looney Tunes. I don't care. I said, I'm going to tell them if I get a premonition. And later in my feelings from my soul, it said to me that um, he wouldn't have believed you. And also, we all have exit points. Now, for those who don't know what an exit point is like a point that you can leave this world if you want to. And it could happen like you're on the phone and you're late for work now because you're on the phone. And because you were late, when you drove your car, you missed this car that ran the red light, and you would have had an accident if you had been on time. Or you missed your flight and that plane crashed, the flight that you missed. Those are exit points. And we all have exit points. Some of us have 3, some of us have 7, some of us have different numbers. An exit point is just a choice if you don't want to play this game anymore, you know. And after that, after this bouncer died, then I came to grips that you have some kind of gift. So let's try to help people with it. And I started to help people with health, you know. I did readings for them. I did help people with relationships, and um, just a bunch of different things to help people with their lives. And also, I was telling people about my downloads to help them better deal with life, you know, because right now we're in a transition right now, and there's a lot of information that they need to know because otherwise it's very easy for people to basically be depressed or go insane because nothing works the same way as it used to. Breathing is a very good, it's a good way to connect with source, and also it's the first thing we do when we're born, and it's the last thing we do when we leave.
Oh, see. This is why I'm excited. You are awesome. Okay, okay.